Hi everyone, this is Matt. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Matt's Method. Today we're going to be talking about the Bulgarian quad stretch, one of my favorite stretches. The reason being is the quadriceps is probably one of the tightest muscles on most people, especially in today's world, because all we do is sit at our computers, we drive and we sit in the car, we don't do much for the front part of our hip flexors and our quads. And we all have a bunch of knee injuries. We're passing out knee replacements like candy nowadays. So in order to release some of that tension in the front of your hips, which has so much effect on the rest of your body, for instance, your psoas, right? Your psoas is one of your hip flexors, and we're going to briefly touch up on it today during this quad stretch. But your psoas, it connects all the way to your diaphragm, which is a major respiratory muscle, controls your ability to breathe. So a lot of times when that muscle gets tight, we end up having anxiety, shortness of breath, depression. These things can greatly impact somebody's life. But also, the psoas is connected to your T12, so your very bottom rib. And that can actually pull when we have our pelvis so tight, it causes it to shift anteriorly, so it'll shift forward, putting a lot of pressure on what most people refer to as L4, L5, S1, but a lot of people have a bunch of back issues too. Not to mention the stabilization of our knee, right? Our quad is 4 different muscles, right? So we have our vastus medialis, which is the inside part of the quad, our vastus lateralis, which is the outside part of the quad. Then we have one of the bigger ones is the rectus femoris, and that's the only one that connects the 2 joints. That one actually connects up to the hip. It does help with hip flexion, but also knee extension as well. And then you have the vastus intermedius, and that's a little bit deeper. That's something that we'll touch on as well. But just like any other stretch, the body loves lines and it loves angles, right? So we can't just have one stretch with one angle that's going to affect the entire muscle. We gotta look at the muscle as a whole. And the way that we're gonna do that is through the Bulgarian quad stretch. Again, one of my favorite stretches. So the way the body works is one muscle contracts and the opposite has to relax. So for instance, you try to contract your tricep and at the very same time do a bicep curl is physically impossible. That's something that we refer to as Sheraton's law. And it's effective throughout the entire body. Any muscle that we use, one contracts, the opposite relaxes. So the opposite of our hamstrings is our quads, right? So if we want to actually truly relax our quads, we have to engage our hamstrings. And if we want to relax our hip flexors, we have to engage our glutes a little bit. So there's going to be a little bit of work involved, but I know you can do it. Well, basically what I'm going to do, I have a bench set up right here. All right, so I'm going to take my back foot. And if it's a little bit harder for some people, you can always just start here. Put your back foot up on the bench. It could be a couch, it could be anything. You just want to make sure it's not too high. So right here from a side view, basically you can see my entire upper body is in a straight line. My ears, my shoulders, my hips, and my knee is all in a straight line. My front leg is at 90 degrees, all right? Everything, my hips, my chest is facing forward. So basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna stretch the rectus femoris first. And the way that we're gonna do that, we're gonna get the distal and the proximal end. Now the distal end is a little bit lower, it's around the kneecap. Then we have the proximal end, which is a little bit higher up towards the hips, right? A little bit harder to get, but we're gonna get there. Right here, we're going for the distal end of the rectus femoris. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm going to engage my hamstrings and my glute max, big meaty part of your butt right here. I'm going to slowly sit back. Now there's no pressure on my knee whatsoever, but I do feel a pretty distinct stretch right here in the front of my leg, and that's what you should feel as well. But I'm not doing anything with my hips, I'm not flaring my ribs, keeping everything down, but I'm breathing through it, right? One of the most important things when stretching, and we're gonna go really in depth into this in a later episode, but how long do you hold a stretch for? Well, we're gonna hold it for about 2 seconds. And the reason being is after you hold a stretch for 2 seconds, maybe a little bit longer, 4 seconds, what ends up happening is that muscle turns into an isolated contraction. So the muscle spindles in the muscle actually get activated, and that's the way of protecting your body from being overstretched. So your muscles start freaking out, and then they're gonna contract. Well, you can't stretch a contracted muscle. So a lot of times when you see people in the gym or stretching, and they're screaming real loud, and feel the burn, the more it hurts, the better. No, that's not the case at all. Everything should be nice, smooth, and almost effortless, but there is a flow to it. We want to breathe deeply into the stress. I'm going to inhale I'm gonna engage my hamstrings and my glutes. I'm slowly gonna sit back, driving my heel towards the center of my butt. 2 seconds, relax. All right, same thing. Engage your hamstrings and your glutes, keeping your core tight. So a good deep stretch in the front of that leg. Then release. We're gonna do about 1 to 3 sets of, let's say 5 to 8 reps. All right, again, we're breathing through it, breathe deeply, all right? So that's the rectus femoris. Very, very important. You can do any of these stretches at any point. You can use a wall, you can use a bench, you can use your couch, you can use your chair, whatever, but this is so important because this is going to help open up so many other things in your body and your muscles. And believe it or not, stretching your quads can actually alleviate a lot of pain in other parts of your body, especially in your hips and your knees too. So we got a rectus femoris right there. Now I'm going to get for the proximal end. So the proximal end of the rectus femoris is a little bit higher. People are really going to feel this, all right? So one thing that a lot of people, the mistake they make is they end up hyperextending right here with their chest, put way too much pressure on their lower back. There's no bueno, all right? So you gotta keep this front leg at 90 degrees. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to drop my hips forward just a little bit, right? A little bit of hip extension. So you can see my leg is about 95 degrees or so, right? This angle right here is about 95 degrees, 95 to 100 degrees. So right here, I'm actually going to squeeze my glutes and my upper part of my hamstrings. I'm actually driving my hips down towards the ground. You feel a very deep stretch going all the way up into your hips, right? Even up into the hip flexors and the psoas. If the psoas is too tight, then you're not really going to fully be able to release that rectus femoris on the proximal end, the upper half. But it is so important to actually get this muscle loose. Remember, again, breathing through it. We're going to inhale and slowly drop my hips down towards the ground. Keep my chest above my hips and release. Again, 2 second hold. Back in. Again, we're doing 1 to 3 sets of 5 to 8 reps on that as well. All right. From a front view, all right, again, right here, you can see my back knee, everything's in line. My hips, my chest, everything is in line. So getting that distal in, and I'm going to squeeze my glutes and my hamstring. You're gonna inhale and exhale deeply as I go through the stretch. I'm gonna take my heel right towards the center of my butt. And I say that because once we get to the other parts of the quad, the medialis and the lateralis, we'll be doing slightly different angles because let's face it, the body loves lines, it loves angles, so let's work with the body. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is actually go for the medialis. Now the medialis is actually this little teardrop muscle right here. All right, and this is where a lot of people are weak. This is where we have a lot of knee issues because most of the force that we put on our bodies is on the lateralis, the TFL. It puts a lot of pressure on the inside of the knee. So if we can actually stabilize and strengthen up that medialis, it's gonna help stabilize the knee as well. All right, so right here, I'm gonna get in the same position, but now we're stretching the medialis. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my knee, take it out about 15 degrees, right? Not much, it's maybe 3 to 4 inches or so. But I'm gonna do the same thing is actually I'm going to go in this direction, like towards the front of my foot right here. So instead of driving straight, I just want a slight angle without dropping my hips or heighting my hips too much. It's very important. But again, we're going to squeeze our hamstrings and our glute. We're going to slowly inhale, exhale deeply. Should feel right on the inside, all down this quad, all the way down towards the knee. Again, keep my chest up and exhale. Right there, that medialis, that teardrop is what we're looking for. You want a deeper stretch, squeeze your glutes some more, then drive your foot towards the inside part of your glute. Right, very important. Remember on the rectus femoris, we're going right to the middle of the glute. The medialis, we're going right to the inside part of our glute. Right, that's going to create that angle. It's going to take the pressure off the knee, so the tibia and the femur aren't twisted. All right, so right here, squeezing my glute, my hamstring, drop slightly at the angle, Boom, that's the medialis, all right? So now we're going for the lateralis, right? The lateralis is on the outside part of your quad. Again, a lot of knee issues. This is where most people are gonna feel tight. They're gonna feel up in their hips, all right? So again, sticking with those angles, all right? This is the angle of the rectus femoris. This is what we're gonna call neutral right here, okay? So basically what I'm gonna do, let's say my belly button is my midline, okay? That's what we refer to as the midline of your body. I'm gonna take my knee and I'm gonna move it, again, about 3 to 4 inches to the midline of my body, right? Just doing that, I can feel a little bit of stretch right here, right? So I'm taking this leg, moving it just a little bit. So this one you're not gonna get much extension on because it is so tight. But basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna inhale deeply. And as I exhale, I'm contracting my hamstrings and my glute. I'm driving my hips forward. You're gonna feel this all the way down the outside part of your quad, all the way up into maybe even your TFL. Very important. Boom. All right. Do it again. Again, the body loves lines, loves angles. Can't say that enough. Let's work different angles. All right. So again, we're doing 1 to 3 sets of 5 to 8 reps on this for the lateralis. All right. So pretty much we have 3 different angles. Right. Most people just approach it. Get on there, one angle, boom, go, you stretch as far as you can. It hurts, it's painful. No, that should never be the case. Light and smooth, all right? We want to actually, it's not a rubber band. We're not gonna keep pulling that rubber band because the rubber band never lengthens, all right? You take a plastic bag, you pull a plastic bag apart a little bit, you hold it for 2 seconds, you let go. Pull it apart a little bit, you let go, all right? That's plasticity versus elasticity. Right? Our muscles basically are that plastic bag. We want to slowly lengthen that muscle. The only way we're going to do that is through repetitions of 2 to 4 second holds. Right? I prefer 2 seconds, but that stretch that we should be feeling, it should be a slight irritation of the muscle. It should never be painful. You should never be feeling that burning sensation. But we do want a good stretch, and if we link through it, we focus on what we're doing, and we actually consistently do this every single day, we're going to see a lot of great results in our body, in our energy levels, our ability to breathe, our hyperextension of our back issues should start going out the window. But really got to stick to this, and I would recommend doing this every single morning. Do it before you work out, do it after you work out, do it at night before you go to bed. Have some time during the day where you can have a routine to actually incorporate these stresses into your day, because it will be so beneficial and it'll help you tremendously. And on the next episode, we're going to be talking about how to strengthen these muscles, the lateralis, the medialis, and the rectus femoris. Because again, there's a specific way that we should be doing this, but we got to get our muscles lengthened first, right? Thank you, everybody. Stay tuned for more content and videos. Hope you have a great day. I'll see you on Matt's Method again. Take care.